Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin. If you're new here, if you're not, thank you so much for stopping back by. Y'all know I appreciate you. Today I am going to get into my retirement savings update, what my accounts look like, what are they, and where I want to go from here, because retiring at 70 years old sounds terrible. So I'm trying to kind of take maybe like an annual look at this type of stuff and just check in on my whereabouts. So let's do that. So first thing is first, I do have a little spreadsheet here, but it is not one that I've created to like track long term. It's just a quick thing I put together to kind of be able to share with you a visual representation. So judge if you must, but it is just a simple thrown together quick sheet. So first things first, we'll talk about my actual retirement accounts. So number one, I have an employer-sponsored 401k, and within that account, there are 3 broken out sections. So with that account, and kind of the biggest reason now is when I decided to go ahead and look at this is because I did become vested. So if you guys don't know what vesting is, it is a company can choose to vest you at whatever time frame or percentage they want to while you're employed. So a lot of employers have a vesting period of like, let's say 1 to 3 years to get you fully vested, meaning that any money that they match in your retirement account would be yours completely once you are 100% vested. So some of them do like after a year, you're 25% or whatever. Mine was 0 to 100. After 3 years, you get 100%. So for me, I was seeing that company match build up in my account, and for 3 years, I was like, it's not my money, it's not my money, don't look at that money, it's not mine. But it is officially mine. I made it to the goal. I invested and it is my money now. So we'll take a look at the totals in that account and I'll just kind of go through it. So first things first, the total amount in the whole account is $19,135, which feels very good. I think I did hit the 20K, but there's been so much volatility in the market the last couple of months with, everything going on. It's just not been able to recover. So we're getting there. It's not as bad as it was. It did drop all the way down into the 18s. So we're okay. This is, by the way, also as of March 1st, these are the totals. So within that employee-sponsored 401k or employer-sponsored, I have a pre-tax section that is my contribution, and that is sitting at $85.98. And then the company match section is sitting at $8,900. And then there is a Roth 401k option through my plan, and that is sitting at $16.26. So all that adds up to about $19,000, like I said. Now, the other kind of lines in this chart I have here are what are the contributions. So in total, bi-weekly, like every check, I'm putting in about $245 into this retirement account, and that includes the company match. So what that breaks out to is 6% is what I'm putting in, which is about $134, and then 5% is what my company is putting in, and that's about $111. Comes out to about 11% of my gross income is being put into my 401k, which does feel pretty good. Above 10% feels good. I am in debt, y'all already know that, so I'm pretty happy with this amount, but that's not it. That's not all I'm putting into retirement. So that's why 11 here looks good, because I know that there's other money going in too. So the last thing to know about that 401k is it is managed by the vendor or whoever. And I did check the fees for this year to kind of see, should I think about taking control of it, have a little bit more ownership of that and what I'm invested in. And for now, it is easier to wait until the annual benefits enrollment to deal with maybe changing that. And the fees aren't too bad right now and everything's looking good. So it's just not my prerogative right now to take it over. But I do plan to take some ownership of what those investments are and everything with that account in the near-ish future, in the next year or so. Next up, we have a Roth IRA. I just started contributing to this account in 2021. I was doing $100 a month last year, and this year I'm doing $250 a month. So I'm very proud to have increased that amount by so much in 1 year. So that account is sitting at $1675 right now. So only $1,600 bucks. But I only put $1,200 in the first year, and I'm already making big strides compared to last year. So I'm feeling very good. And like I said, that's $250 per month, not bi-weekly. It's per month. And that ends up being, I don't even know what percent that ends up being of my like annual or gross income. But it's decent, I think. I don't know. I think, would that be like 5% total of my monthly income? I don't know. I should have calculated it. But either way, it's a big chunk of money and I feel good about it. Next up, we have, and the Roth IRA is through Fidelity. So it's invested in index funds, the zero cost index funds through them. So again, just chilling in these index funds for me. I don't do any kind of risque specific stock investments or crypto or anything like that. I'm living in that long-term, low maintenance life for investments and I like it. Next up, we have my after-tax brokerage account, and I just started this at the very end of last year, and I'm really not putting a ton into it right now because I'm not even maxing out my IRA yet, so it just doesn't feel like a huge priority, but I do want to start, getting some money in there and start building that up as well, because if you do want to retire early, you can't, you got to have something that you can pull your money out of without getting penalized for doing it early, and so I have started that, and I'm working on it, but it's slow going for now because of debt and other things. So it's got $227 in it, and it is invested in Vanguard index funds, and I'm putting $25 a month in there. It's something. Something is better than nothing, guys. Seriously, something is better than nothing. Look at me, $25. Like it's fine if you cannot commit to investing $250 a month. That's okay. But you should start somewhere, and I would recommend a Roth IRA and just throw money in when you can. But that's besides the point. Let's get back to this because I'm not a financial advisor. So anyway, and of course that account is invested in, it's monthly. So with that, we get to my last retirement account. It is an HSA, and I have $22.97 in there, so almost $2,300. One of my goals this year is to get some of that invested, but it's not right now. So hopefully this year I can do that and kind of learn the ropes of investing through that account. I just haven't done it yet, but I'm putting $25 per paycheck in there. And then my company also does an incentive program where I can put $550 in there throughout the year. So that's why my weekly contribution is kind of low, because my end game goal is like $1,100 in there, I think, per year, just because I am young, I'm mostly healthy, and I just mostly do preventative health care. So I don't have to use it a whole lot. But I do have some dental work coming up, so I will probably tap into that for dental work soon. We'll see. But yeah, that is that. So right now I'm sitting at a beautiful $23,000 in retirement savings, and I truly am very proud of myself for where I am at 25 years old. I don't have a huge egg in there yet, but like I am putting a lot of money towards it, and it will grow. It absolutely will grow. I'm only 25. I did go to college, so I spent 4 years after high school in college, not really making real money. I mean, I was making like part-time, but it was like barely getting me by. And so, I feel like for someone who started into the workforce at, I think 23, or 22, I'm doing great. 3 years in, and I've got some money in here. So I'm really proud of myself. That was my long-winded pat on my back here, so let's just move right along. The next thing I wanted to go over was my FIRE number, my estimated retirement early number. And so last year, back in May, I did do a calculation, and it kind of ended up where on the more conservative end, I was going to need about $700,000 to retire and be able to use $30,000 a year, and that just doesn't feel like enough. It really doesn't. With inflation how it is right now, and the fact that didn't incorporate any inflation between now and retirement, it just feels like that was not a very great calculation. It was just my beginner calculation, so it is cool. So with that, I decided to switch up my calculation a little bit, and instead of doing a 4% rule, I'm going to drop that to 3.3%. I've seen a few studies or articles, not studies, articles, kind of indicating that that's where some of the economists are thinking that's a more conservative, safer bet. So I'm just going to do that for this little calculation. And then I'm also assuming I'm debt-free outside of a mortgage at retirement, and that there's an average inflation of 2.5% per year between now and retirement. So if I need to have $40,000 in retirement, I need to add 2.5% per year from now to retirement to that. So what I did was, from that $30,000 from last year that I thought I would need, I added $10K, just add $10K, $40K. And then I did go ahead and add 37% on top of that $40K to account for some inflation. So that brings me to, excuse me, that brings me to thinking I'm going to need roughly $55,000 in retirement to live on. And I think this is good because I do want to have a fun, vibrant life in retirement. We may or may not have kids, so it is going to be important to me to travel. So 55,000 I think is a lot closer to what would be realistic and allow me to do a lot of fun stuff. So with that, in order to pull out 55,000 a year, that 55,000 has to equal 3.3% of whatever the sum is of my investments. And so with that, I'm going to need about $1.6 million to be able to retire. Hard pill to swallow there because it's not easy to build up $1.6 million. But from there, once you have the number, you know, and now I'm like, okay, am I on track? What do I need to do to get there? And so right now, if I continue to invest at the current level that I am right now, I would get there between age 55 and 35. And so with this chart, basically what I did was I took each account and I kind of put it into a calculator to see how it would grow if it had an 8% return rate and I was putting in what I'm putting in now. So that's kind of where this chart comes from. And these numbers at the bottom are these bold numbers, and that's after 15 years, the total of my accounts will be at this number. After 20 years, this number. So like I said, if I don't change any of my investment strategies right now, I will hit that 1.6 million financial independence, retire early number between 55 and 60. Now, I don't expect to work, and then fully retire. I expect to hopefully work, coast fire, and then retire. So I am, my ultimate goal would be retiring at 40. And so right now at 40, if I don't change anything, that's 15 years away from me. If I don't change anything about how I am investing, I could be looking at just around 350K in savings. So we're very short if I don't change anything right now. But that's okay because this is just like a baseline. This is just touching base with where I'm at and giving me an idea of, okay, you have a lot of work to do. You've got to increase that income and start investing a bit more. So I'm really glad to take a minute and look at these numbers and get an idea of how far away I am from really getting that 40 number. Because it's easy to say like, oh, I want to retire by 40. But like the nitty gritty details are what's going to let me get there. And so I do think I'm doing great right now. I'm proud of where I am right now. And with that, I know that I need to do more in the future. So in the next 5 years, I am really hoping I can, move up at work, start getting some bigger increases in salary. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for the increases I've had so far. I've come a long way from my starting date 3 years ago with my company. And I am excited for the future with this company. So I'm hoping that I will be able to move up and start investing more and more as time goes on. Especially after I get out of my car debt again. So with that is kind of all I have to go over. So if you guys have any questions or any notes or anything, like I said, this was kind of, I don't want to say haphazardly thrown together in here, but it really is a guesstimate. So if there's anything you think, hey, maybe you should think about this while you're kind of looking at these updates or whatever, definitely let me know. The reason that I tried to incorporate inflation here was a comment from somebody that was like, hey, by the way, you didn't incorporate inflation. And I was like, you're right, I didn't. So it doesn't, comments don't hurt my feelings or anything. Definitely let me know what you think. And well, stay tuned and see if I can retire at 40, I guess. Have a great morning, noon, or night, whatever it is for you guys. And I'll catch you in the next one.